was watching a podcast, and the guest on the podcast, he was a monk for like 8 to 10 years, something like that. And he's explaining like the monk lifestyle and stuff like that. And they pretty much, from my understanding, like, yeah, they pretty much cut off all their worldly possessions and all their urges to serve the monastery or, serve themselves. Obviously, most people that do that, I believe, are on a spiritual journey, trying to answer some questions, from within or about life and stuff like that. But anyways, he's talking about these monks, and they cut off all these things that to other people is their source of happiness. Something as little as even like hot showers, having a nice steamy hot shower. Love having those. Having a hot cup of coffee in the morning. Looking forward to payday. You get really happy and excited when Friday hits because it's payday. Or maybe you've been swiping on Tintin, you've been swiping on Tinder, and maybe you got a date coming up, and so you're amped for that. You have that to look forward to. Or your favorite meal. You're about to eat your favorite meal. About to go eat at your favorite restaurant. You're finally gonna buy that purse that you've been saving up so much for, or like that designer jacket, or maybe your dream car, something like that, along those lines. And it's just crazy because the monk lifestyle, they cut all these things off. And he was saying how being a monk, it forces them to find happiness within. And I know we've all heard this saying, oh, true happiness comes from within. True happiness comes from within. I think it's the same as the only happiness one finds at the top of the mountain is the one that they bring with them. Because when you don't have these things to look forward to, like a fresh pair of kicks, like payday, like going on a date, getting laid, your favorite food, stuff like that, it makes sense. It's going to force you to have to find a new reason to live, a new reason to be happy, a new reason to look forward to it. And especially today, I just really been thinking about that. And I've heard tons of stories. Like, if you guys know who Ram Dass is, he apparently was very successful, very financially set, and had private jets and stuff like that, just living the life. But he left all of that because he realized that he wasn't happy. Yes, in this material world, financial world, he was quote unquote successful. He had everything that should have made him happy, but even with all that, he wasn't happy. And I know there's tons of stories of people like this. That's just the one that comes to my mind. And that's like one of the reasons why you would drop everything to become a monk, because there's more out there than this material bullshit. Because let's be honest, that's exactly what it is. It's bullshit. Quote I've seen, it's like something along the lines like, you are way more excited or happy for something before you get it, and then once you receive it, you're not that. Before you, like, the idea of getting something is super exciting, makes you super happy. When you get it, you're super happy, super excited, but then after that, it just goes back down to base level. It only lasts so long, maybe a day, maybe a week if you're lucky, but then it just goes down to base level and it becomes the same old. And so then we're always searching for these things. But monks, they don't have that. They have true happiness. And I'm thinking, I would say I'm very spiritual myself, but I don't know if I'm going to be shaving my head and joining a monastery anytime soon. The thought of it is really cool. But what I'm getting at is, how does the average everyday person like me and you, who have all these things accessible to us that we think are going to make us happy, how do we find true inner happiness? How do we do that? Is it possible without becoming a monk? I feel like it has to be, but maybe it takes those extremes to really have that type of happiness, that type of gratitude practice. I don't know. And even with back to like doubting yourself and happiness, it's so, when you're in that negative mindset and you start doubting yourself, I kind of touched on this earlier, but it like literally tricks you. You're like, am I good enough? Am I producing quality? Maybe I'm not as dope as I thought I was. Maybe people just don't like me. Maybe my shit's trash. Because, you feel like you are not to where you want to be. You're not to that level that you want to obtain for all the work that you've put in, all the hours. Yeah, you're not seeing those rewards that you think you should have already. And then it gets even worse if you're the type of person to compare yourself to others. Like today, all the Spotify rewinds, whatever they're called, came out. And if you're an artist, all these artists are posting how many plays they got for the year, how many countries people listen to them, how many playlists they got put on, all this stuff. And if you really care and get caught up in that, that shit can really tear you apart. That's why it's really just about competing with yourself, competing with the numbers you put out last year, you know, competing with the person you were a week ago. But I'm not going to dive into that. That's a whole nother topic. But yeah, you feel like it is great to have goals, but when these goals and achievements are linked to happiness and then you're down in the dumps, you start, well, it kind of goes hand in hand. Like you're down in the dumps because of that, because you feel like you should be on a higher plane, on a higher level than you are. You're not to where you want to be, you know, but who's to say any of it really matters? But that's kind of the beautiful thing. Like, does it really matter? Maybe we'll just all shave our head and just go become monks. Why not? Because I'm guessing like they're not thinking about achieving whatever this or that. They literally just live in the present moment, in the now. And I'm guessing they just do everything for their monastery or for each other, for their brotherhood of monks, because they're not attach their happiness to these goals or to these achievements they want. Maybe life would be better that way. I definitely know life is the best, and I'm at my Life is the best, and I'm at my happiest when I'm not thinking. And I don't mean like being dumb or being ignorant, stuff like that, but just being clear-minded, not having any thoughts in my head. That's when I feel like I'm the happiest. All right, guys, that's really it. I'm gonna do more shit like this. I hope you guys learned some shit, got inspired, relate, whatever it might be. Like and subscribe. Much love, guys. Maybe we'll just all shave our head and just go become monks. Why not?